NFL show on the Gruely True Sports Network. As always, the Gruely True Sports Network is powered by Betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding the online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. Make sure you check them out at Betting.net. I am your co-host for the NFL show. Today we're going to recap last night's draft, give you all our winners, losers, look at the best players still available coming in tonight's second round. I'm Mike Goodpaster, my co-host, 1981 national champion, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Doing good. Doing good after last night. Last night actually turned out to be fun, Mike. I mean, I watched the whole damn draft because there was no two or three big stars that once they got picked, it's like, yeah, turn it off and get back to Cagney and Lacey or something
Cagney
like
and
that.
Lacey.
And it just popped into my head.
Okay.
Why, I don't know.
I don't
Sharon
know.
Glass and Tyne Daly.
I never
Cagney
watched
and
that
Lacey.
show because they both irritated me.
I know. I
the
never watched
dark-haired
it either,
girl.
but it was always advertised on TV. But it was a good night because it ended up being a night of a lot of first set. I mean, six receivers taken in the first 18 picks, which is a record for the modern era draft. Five defensive players from one team, the Georgia Bulldogs, 5 starters from that team in the first round. That's a first. More trades than they said since 1983 or something like that in the first round. More trades for picks going. Every time you turned around, somebody was trying to trade up or trying to trade down and collect some second and third round picks. So overall, I thought this draft, and there he is, Danny. How you doing?
Hey,
And we want to welcome in our other co-host who's live in Las Vegas right now. It's like, what, 1 o'clock there or something?
12:06, boys.
12:06,
Yeah.
and he obviously just woke
Same
up.
time as here. You got the same time as here in L.A.
Yep, my computer's all messed up. I don't know what's going
Yeah,
on.
did you get that damn text from Goodpaster like at 6:40 in the morning? Like, what the hell are you doing? You know, we're still sleeping out here in L.A. in
Pretty
Vegas.
much.
There's
Pretty
no
much.
rest for the...
Or I'm sleeping. You're probably boinking some showgirl or something like that.
There's no way that happened. No way that happened.
At 6:40, if I know you, they come free of charge in hospitality with some high rollers out there.
I wouldn't be what you call a high roller.
Gee, your tickets for Donnie and Marie?
No, but Donnie, I saw him on TV at the draft.
Oh,
Did
they
you?
were cool. Yeah.
Donnie was
So,
actually
so
there.
how's the NFL take care of media at the draft?
Yeah,
Did
tell
they
us
feed
about
you
the-
well?
Anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm done with it. I thought there was a good draft show last night, Mike. I'm done with it. I'm gonna shut up
No.
and let my Dan talk now.
Go ahead, Dan.
It was great. It was a lot of fun yesterday. Nice food, good food options. The seating was plentiful. I had room to roam. I had my own area to charge my devices and stuff. There were, TVs and big screens for the draft everywhere. I was a 2-minute walk from the player interview room, where after each player was selected, the players in attendance, they were mandatory, had to go to the conference room and talk to the media, each one of those prospects. I was there for most of them. I missed a couple of them, trying to catch up on some of the draft stuff otherwise for the grueling truth that I was trying to do. But it was a lot of fun. It was a great experience yesterday, and I'm ready for today.
They
All
give you
right.
Any swag?
No swag. I have my as I drop everything next to me, I have my cool lanyard here, which is awesome. And I'm wondering if I get another one today, because we got to go pick up credentials again for today. So.
I would take the first one with you just in case. Do not take a picture and put it on social media either. They don't like
No.
that. They'll
No,
kick your
that's-
ass right out of there. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's look at last night.
Take a picture of what? Your bass?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
you
don't,
can't.
they don't want somebody copying it and make fake
Well,
copies of it.
yeah, that and the thing is this. If you generally work for a website, you're credentialed for the NFL draft, and you have to go tell everybody how you're credentialed for the NFL draft, they probably shouldn't have credentialed you. It's just like, I see these guys, they've got these sites, and they'll get lucky, and they'll be sitting like in the back of the room, but then you'll see dude out there with a picture. Somebody takes these picture for the NFL draft, and he's going like this, and... Yeah, I've never seen Adam Schefter do that.
Well, okay, let's play
No.
one quick game before we start of Risley's Believe It or Not.
Okay.
In 2002, I had a buddy, Brian Hammonds, who was an announcer for the Golf Channel, and I got to be a runner for the Golf Channel in 2002 at Pebble Beach Tigers' first win, won by like 17 strokes, massive. And I was a runner, so I had a golf cart and full access to the whole golf course. Anywhere, locker rooms, driving range, anywhere I wanted to go. But we're in the meeting trailer, and they're all bitching because we have like 10 cars. We have hundreds of people on staff there, but all the talent, which is all in one trailer. We all had, there was like 10 or 12 talent people there, and then the guys like me who were hanging around with the talent. And I'd rented an SUV, and so they're bitching about having only 2 parking passes. Otherwise, you had to take the press bus in to Pebble Beach from Monterey or wherever they were staying. And so I said, screw this, give me one of those passes. I took one of the parking passes, went to Kinko's, came back, we had about 12 parking passes. I two-sided copied it, put it on thick stock paper, and hung it on the rail. And we were all shitting our pants the first time we tried to use it, thinking, man, if we get busted, the golf cart was going to look like shit. So we had like 8 talents in the car and me driving, and we just hang the thing on the lantern. And the guy, the old fart, is about 85 years old, looks at it kind of at a glance and just waves us on. We parked front row.
I would say this, I'll believe it, since it involves Risley basically breaking the law and stealing. What do you think, Dan?
I'm going to believe it too. It sounds a little silly, but I'm going to believe it. It sounds like he is remembering it very fondly.
It is true. It is true. It did happen.
Let's go ahead. Let's look at
the producer of the show was pissed as hell at me. Because he said, you understand what kind of trouble we could have gotten into?
I understand how he feels.
Yeah, but look where you're parking now. And he goes, get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck
All right.
Do something.
Nice.
All right, guys. Let's
look at this parking pass.
Let's look at the first round draft from last night. We only had 1 quarterback pick, which shocked the hell out of me. They'll all go tonight when they probably should have went to begin with. But we're going to each give you a winner right now in a row. I'm going to start off. To me, the biggest winner in this draft so far is the New York Football Jets. I know they're not called that, but I mean, I don't think they could have got a better first round draft. They added Sauce Gardner from UC, who's a shutdown man press corner, who I think will start right away. They added Garrett Wilson, who I think was better than Drake London. I like Garrett Wilson a lot. I think at worst, he's the second or third best wide receiver in the draft. And then to trade back into the first round and select defensive end Jermaine Johnson from Florida State, I think Jermaine Johnson's the best defensive end in this draft. Dan, what do you think?
I wouldn't put Jermaine Johnson that high.
Then you're wrong. It's because you're a freaking Lions fan. And we all know Aiden Hutchinson's screwed because he's a Lion.
Oh, yeah, he's fucked. But I love that pick. But no, I didn't have Johnson as my number one, but honestly, he's a really good player. And there were some grumblings after he was dropping that the media apparently was hyping him up more than NFL teams were interested in him, which sounds about right. Because as we discussed yesterday, NFL teams like to get cute and they like to think that the hubris, I mentioned it yesterday, it is real because these guys are at the highest level. They think they know what they're doing. And good football players like Johnson, like Kyle Hamilton, like Tyler Linderbaum, these guys fall. And then for reasons like, oh, yeah, the media was hyping them up. Oh, he was a one-year wonder, or, oh, there was issues with this on tape, or oh, it was a personality question. It's absurd. Johnson is a great football player, and he should have gone 15 to 20 slots higher.
All right, so you guys agree with me on the Jets, Steve?
Definitely. Yeah, I think both New York teams did well, but the Jets certainly had a stellar draft for them. Let's see what they can do with it now.
All right, Steve, give me a winner from last night.
I like the Eagles and A.J. Brown. I thought they were both winners. To steal A.J. Brown away, he's a major talent at receiver, something that the Eagles really needed. They immediately signed Brown to a 4-year, $100 million deal that includes $57 million of it guaranteed. Makes him about the 4th highest paid receiver in the NFL, so that's going to make him happy and want to stay there. They had a decent draft getting Jordan Davis. Add that to Fletcher Cox on the defensive line in the middle, and they shored up their defense well and got a massive offensive weapon for them. So they covered both ends with that pick, I think, and you being able to use their first round pick on not a receiver as they needed, but on another player. So I think the Eagles and I think A.J. Brown getting into a better situation in Philadelphia, where he's going to get featured and get started a lot, and so I think the Eagles and A.J. Brown were big winners.
I kind of agree. I agree with the A.J. Brown. I don't agree with the Jordan Davis. I think he's a bust. I don't think the kid's going to be very good, Dan. Am I wrong here? Am I missing something? I mean, let's face it. He played 4 years at Georgia and had 7 sacks. I think he's not the most overrated player from Georgia, which we'll get to in a little bit.
One thing, Mike, you got 7 sacks on a team that produced 5 first-round picks.
Yeah,
defensively.
That's what I mean. So the question is this, Steve.
Is the wealth being spread around, or is he just a bad player amongst 4 other players?
I don't think he's a bad player. I just don't think he should be the 13th pick in the draft. I mean, as a run stuffer, the production there, when you look at his stats, 2021, 17 solo tackles. 2020, 7 solo tackles. 2019, 7 solo tackles. 2018, 6 solo tackles. Okay. Now, I will say this. At the Combine, he was awesome. But how many times, Dan, do we say that guy was awesome at the Combine and he ends up being an awesome player?
Before Dan talks, and I'll shut up because you guys are this.
No, I agree the Eagles are winners just because of A.J. Brown.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in terms of where they're picked, to me, after the first player pick, the rest of where you're picked is based on team needs, not on player talent. I think still in the first round, it's a player that's needed, and if that player's available and your pick happens to be 13, that's the player you targeted. You take him at 13 because he fits your team.
And teams
not
that
because
do
he's
that.
The 13th best player.
Teams that do that lose.
Well,
I mean, if you watch
that with Burrow,
it's a little bit.
They needed a quarterback.
He was the best player in that draft.
Oh, he was the best quarterback in that draft.
He was the best player in that draft.
He was the most influential quarterback and player.
Okay, give me somebody that's even done close to what Joe Burrow's done from that draft.
No, I can't do that because I'm not thinking that way. Now, don't screw me up. I'm on a roll here.
Actually, you're not on a roll.
A good point.
Because actual good teams that are well run don't pick for need. They pick the best player available.
I believe they do on the second pick down. I think first round, they've got to be smart enough to take the best player out there that fits their specific need. You know, if the best player available next year in the draft is a quarterback, and the Bengals for some reason trade and get the first pick, why the hell would the Bengals take the best player available and drafting another quarterback? No, they would take the best offensive lineman to protect Burrow.
Wait a second.
Line.
All right. This
they
is
would
the
not
thing.
take another quarterback.
The Bengals are going to pick 32nd next year. There's no quarterback that'll be the best player.
Yeah, let's say if they traded and somehow ended up with the first pick.
You know what you do then if you're the Bengals? You take that quarterback that everybody wants and you get a shit ton of other picks for him.
Why not just trade that pick out and try and pick up 2 first rounds?
That's
trade
what I
that
just
pick out
said.
and try and get 2 first rounds and give up the first round.
That's what I just said. Hold on, real quick. Big Joe Spellman says, does Pickett start year 1 for Pittsburgh? Please clean the language up, Joe. I know everybody on this show but me has dropped the F-bomb so far, but it's not appreciated if you want to have a potty mouth, Joe. So what do you think? Kenny Pickett, does he start right away, Dan?
I don't think he starts right away. As we discussed yesterday on this show, he is the most NFL-ready quarterback, but I think they're going to give Mitch Trubisky, at the very least, at the early part of the season, give him the rock, see what he can do. You know, he's a veteran. He's on a decent team deal. See what he can do for you. Well, why the hell not?
What do you think, Dan or Steve?
Well, we had this conversation last night. No, I think they're going to go with the proven Trubisky to start with. But probably if Trubisky proves old form, 5 or 6 games into it, Trubisky's going to start folding like he's done every other team and every other place in the NFL. I don't think Trubisky's a bad quarterback. He just can't seem to play as well as he can practice, or something like that. Because everybody likes him, likes the guy's talent.
He sucks.
Okay, well, all right.
He's got no hip. He's got no feet. He throws behind
say this
guys.
to your original question, and to follow up what Dan said, no, I do not think he starts, but I certainly think he's going to get his chance before the halfway mark in the season. And he'll be a starting quarterback for that team before they hit game 8.
I think this. I think he starts right away. I don't think they would have drafted him if they were going to start him. The example here is Big Ben Roethlisberger. He went right around 9 or 11. They started him right away. And the thing is this. You've got a good enough defense there, and you got a good enough running back that they kind of do what they did with Big Ben back there with Jerome Bettis and a really good defense. In his rookie year, they went all the way to the championship game because they basically took the ability to win or lose the game out of his hands. That defense is really good. The running back is very good. The offensive line's a question. I would say this. I would think they would base this on how the offensive line looks like in the preseason, maybe over anything.
Mike, what'd they give up for Trubisky?
Nothing. It was a free agent.
Nothing. It's free agent.
So they had to sign him for some amount of money. How much they're paying him?
$1 million, $2 million. Hell, it can't be that much. Look it up, Dan.
I think it was a 2-year deal. 2-year deal, $14.285 million, $5.25 guaranteed.
$7 million for a quarterback. He's making nothing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. For a quarterback. So so it's not a bad deal to have Trubisky around. I mean,
no, it's not a bad
backup. He's going to be a great backup to Sam, before long.
Let's see him play. I haven't seen him play since Chicago. If he plays like he did in Chicago, I think a great backup is a huge stretch.
I think unless he has a terrible camp, Trubisky will start. But like I said, somewhere before 8 games, I think the other guy Sam will be in there, QB in that football team starting because they do have an investment in him, and the kid looks good on paper. Looks like he can play in the NFL.
Yeah,
but
I don't think either one of them can.
We all thought Ryan Lee could play in the NFL too until he put a helmet on.
No, I never thought.
Yeah,
I never.
But no, actually, Mike, to go back actually real quick to what you and Steve were talking about with the best player available versus drafting for need. That's always a debate when it comes this time of year.
I think you always take the best player unless that need puts you over the top.
Well, that's the thing. This always comes up, and it's always the good teams go best player available. That's why the Ravens
usually do.
That's why
because they've already got everything.
They always end up having these guys fall to them, and they take these guys who should have gone higher, and they look like geniuses. Or there's a player sitting on the board, and it's not necessarily a position of need, but they take this player at that position, and it ends up working out one way or the other because someone at that position is a free agent after the season, or someone got hurt, or something ridiculous like that. But honestly, the best way to approach it is a little bit of both. Because yes, I agree. It is a better idea when in doubt to go best player available, because more often than not, when we see teams reach for need,
they fail because they're desperate.
It doesn't work out that often.
Pittsburgh was desperate taking Kenny Pickett.
That's with all the movement that was going on in the second half of the draft. They probably could have had an opportunity to trade down and still take Pickett. It didn't look like anybody else back there was trading up or whatever for a quarterback. And
so that tells me this, though. Either Pittsburgh is desperate or they really believe Kenny Pickett's the guy, which is why I say Kenny Pickett will start, because I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are an organization that doesn't make a whole lot of stupid mistakes, which is why they're always in the mix. So I think they really believe Pickett's the guy. If they really believe that, they should pick him there. I just think they're going to be wrong.
Did Burrow start from day one? I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was with no training camp. That was a COVID year.
Yeah, but right. Burrow's
He's the greatest quarterback that ever lived.
Tom Brady who?
Peyton
You all laugh all you
Peyton
want.
Manning.
Peyton Manning.
Dude, I would take Joe Burrow or Peyton Manning any freaking day.
Joe Montana, what?
Jeez. Maybe I wouldn't take him over Joe Montana yet, but I'd take him over Peyton Manning.
Joe Montana wishes he was Joe Burrow.
Hey, who was the Lions?
Probably does. He wouldn't be so damn old then. What?
Like, who was the Lions quarterback? Was it Sammy Barr or Sid Luckman? Or
did what?
Who was their big-time, old-time quarterback?
For who?
For the Lions.
For the Lions, Bobby Lane.
Bobby Lane. I couldn't think of it.
Neither can Dan. All right, Dan, give me a winner from last night.
Winner... There's a few winners I like aside from
just
the guys.
Give me one right now. We'll each get like 2 or 3 each.
I'm going to give you the New York Giants.
Really?
I love I love the fact that they took Tibbs at 5 overall.
Really, even though he's not very good.
That's your opinion, and you're
no. My opinion's right. I mean, we've done this show for how many years, Steve? How many times am I wrong here? We've done how many shows with Dan where Dan was wrong?
That's when you thought you had the winner of the NASCAR race.
I didn't pick it though. You picked no, it was the golf, and you picked the same thing I did.
But no, I love the fact that they took Tibbs at 5th overall. They were not scared off by his quote unquote personality.
Do you know what his personality issues are?
Honestly,
let me ask you a question, all right? Because I have this problem with everybody I see on ESPN, Fox, and I'm betting I'm going to have the same issue with you. You know what that is?
What's that?
Have you ever sat down and watched Oregon play a complete game and just watched Thibodeau?
Yeah.
When?
I mean, that's what scouting is.
I know. When did you watch it? Which game? Did you watch the game against Utah?
Yeah, he looked like he checked out in that game.
Yeah.
He looked like
so
he was
why would you want to invest that much money in a guy who in a championship game quits?
Because you don't make decisions based off of a bad half or.
Oh, you got to be shitting me! Once you're a quitter, Steve, finish that sentence. Once you're a quitter,
you're always a quitter.
It's questionable that he didn't seem that interested, and
you just said that he gave up. You watched it. You said he gave up.
It's questionable that he didn't seem interested.
Quitting is a very easy skill to learn.
Yes,
but you know what?
And he didn't start when he was 22.
It's ugly, but I wouldn't take a guy off my board or think he sucks or whatever, and just ignore all the talent and all the other
this is the thing. Talent. Wait a second. What the hell does talent have to do with anything?
Talent wins chips.
No, it doesn't.
Not
You're
good personality.
Moron. You're stupid.
Good personality.
That is the dumbest thing. No. So you think you win championships with talent?
No no kidding. Yeah.
Okay. Obviously. I believe you win championships with basically attitude. You can't win with somebody that quits. You don't win with people that quit. Cam Newton never won.
We've seen these plucky, hard-working.
I know, like Tom Brady. Those guys never work out.
These hard, tough-nosed teams, and then they don't win a lot of games because they're just not talented enough. Look at the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell is putting in a great program there. Players are buying in. They're going to
win.
Listen, they're working harder than I've ever seen, and
they're going to win, Dan.
I've watched every Lions game for the last decade, and every week it disgusts me because no matter how talented we were, the coaching always sucked or players made stupid mistakes. But last year, these guys were working hard. They were busting their ass every down on both sides of the ball. It didn't matter what the score was. They were down 20 points. They still played like they could win. And that's awesome, but they didn't win because they had no talent.
Okay. All I can tell you is this, dumbass, with your stupid head shake. Looks like you're sucking something. Never mind. But
why do the personal attacks have to come in?
Because it's fun. Because Bobby Sheridan's sitting there goes, "See, I told you, Risley." But this is the thing.
I apologize for you don't deserve that.
You win football games with culture. And your culture cannot be good. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow was a big reason why they won. But they also came in, and what'd they do? They got rid of talent. They got rid of A.J. Green. They got rid of Geno Atkins. They got rid of Carlos Dunlap because those guys weren't all in to win. They went out and got guys that
players.
Actually, they weren't. Carlos Dunlap's like 28. Geno Atkins was 29 or 30.
That's
correct?
Old.
Yeah.
Really, that's old. And A.J. Green, I don't think his stats were too bad last year with the Cardinals. But what you got in Arizona is this. You got Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the world. And he's never going to win a damn thing. Because you can't win with divas. And I'm telling you this. If you go out in the first round and you pick a guy that you watched in back-to-back games, it's not just one Utah. They played them back-to-back. He quit in both of them. All right? I can tell you this. If a guy quits in the game before the game, and then he shows back up and he's not ready to just bust somebody's ass and he quits again, I don't want him.
Nobody wants a player like that.
Yeah, they do, because they're taking him, and everybody has seen that film. Because they're going to take him off Combine. Combine's not talent. Talent
Yeah, but
is...
Mike, you got to think the vetting process in the NFL is so thorough. Now, there's flaws in the guy. You see him as a coach. I'll give you that.
Dude, the
But
majority
they
of these
gotta find
guys
something
fail.
that outweighs those flaws they saw.
Well,
in it.
I would say this. The majority of top 10 picks, I'd say at least more than 40% don't pan out to be that. So if the
That
vetting
happens every year.
But it's because the vetting process is skewed. Because as we talked about, these guys will take the guy over to big school, over the guy from the little school, and they put way too much emphasis on a 40 time. I can tell you this. If I'm an NFL head coach, if I'm an NFL GM or an NFL owner, I wouldn't even go to the combine except to interview the players. Because I need to know if he can play football. Going out and running a 40-yard dash in shorts and a T-shirt, there ain't ever a time in a football game where you line up and you run 40 yards straight down the field in shorts and a T-shirt and see who can run the fastest. It means nothing. How many times did the Raiders pick guys like that? I mean, the last 20 years of Al Davis with the Raiders, that's all they did. And they never won a damn thing.
I saw Earl Campbell get his entire jersey ripped off one time and ran 60 yards.
I know.
Touchdown.
So let's run to 40 with somebody grabbing them from behind on their shirt and see if somebody can get through it. I can just tell you this. Want to is the most important thing to being great. Because when we look at the top 10 Peyton Manning was not an overly athletic, talented guy. Tom Brady wasn't Bart Starr wasn't. Johnny Unitas wasn't. Otto Graham. Terry Bradshaw was a really good athlete, but Terry Bradshaw's a guy, he was fast as hell. He had a huge arm. And from 1970, when he got to the Steelers, to 1975, he was fighting to just win his job. And then when he calmed his ass down and became more of a team guy, he won 4 Super Bowls. So you can sit there and tell me talent wins. There's very few guys in this draft that aren't talented.
Wait a minute. We've got to stop.
What?
Dan, this is a monumental moment with the grueling truth and with Dan and I's relationship. I think out there he actually said something nice about Peyton Manning.
No, I think Peyton Manning's a top 10 quarterback of all time. He just ain't Joe Burrow.
He lumped him into that group of these are the winners that you won.
No, I didn't say winners. I said they were the best quarterbacks, and they are not the most talented.
But he said something nice about Peyton Manning.
I've said it nice before.
It's a stretch. It's a stretch. Trust me.
It's not a stretch. It's really not.
But no, but yeah, all that aside, the
Mike makes a good point.
He does.
If the guy quits on you, see him quitting.
It's definitely
That's
a
not
thing.
What you want.
Steve played 4 years for Bobby Knight, won a national championship, not because he was a great athlete. He was a damn good athlete. He could have went to other places and probably averaged 20 a game, got drafted in the 3rd round of the NBA draft, and been the guy that took the job from the guy that was better than him that got drafted in the 7th round. But the point is this. Guys like Steve, Jim Thomas, guys like that are guys that nobody had heard of going into that Final Four, and those were the reason that IU won. If you watch the semifinal game, Jimmy Thomas rebounded the ball and playing defense completely turned the game on his own. He wasn't the most talented guy on the court, but he willed himself to do that. I want guys that can will themselves to be great because those are the guys that are actually great. Most of the guys with enormous talent get by all the way through college with never having to bust their ass or do anything out of the way. And that's why they get outworked. It's just like if you go down to a Little League baseball field, you find a big kid. He's 12 years old. He's 6 foot tall, and he throws the ball 70 miles an hour. 4 years later, you go watch him in high school. He's sitting on the end of the bench. Why is he sitting on the end of the bench? Well, he was bigger, stronger. He had a fastball, but he never learned how to throw anything else because he just figured that he would always be better than everybody else. And the problem is all those other guys are learning things. All right? So, yeah, it's great to have talent. And everybody has talent. Jordan Davis has probably more athletic ability than anybody in this draft. The dude is like enormous and runs like a 4.5, 4.6 40. But when you watch the film, it doesn't translate. And if you see that this guy is great in shorts and everything, just go watch his film. Does it translate? Is he that good when you watch that film? And if he's not, you have to ignore everything you saw him running in shorts. Because there's so many guys running in shorts. Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf, prototypical quarterback, 6'5", 6'6". They were crap because one of them was mentally deficient. and that would be Ryan Leaf, and the other one liked to eat a lot. So, I mean, I'll tell you what, I would worry a lot about giving a guy a lot of money that I watch quit in the two biggest games of the year. I just would, because to me, that's workout. I mean, how can you quit? You got like millions of people watching you on TV, 50,000 people in the stands, your family is there, and you're going to quit. I mean, to me, that is an enormous freaking problem.
Yes, it is a problem, but where you would completely disregard a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau because of that,
I will.
That's fine, and I'm sure there's definitely other GMs, coaches, and stuff like that in the league that think just like that. They want
that. Obviously, did because he was
and
considered the number one guy in this draft a few months ago.
He was, but at the end of the day, with someone like that, it's not something that you think it's going to ruin his career. It's not something that popped up every week where this guy's like, okay, they're playing not just Utah, but they're playing Cal or somebody like
because
that.
Because they're winning, and he's getting stats. The best team he played against this year was Utah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see him do a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah.
And the other thing about Thibodeau is this. We can pull his film up, but he stands straight up. He's got almost no bend. I just don't see why anybody would pick him that high. I mean there's issues there.
The Washington game was ugly because that was another one where he just did nothing against the run. He did nothing again in the pass game. I think he got a sack in that game, but Washington stood out for me as another one of his bad games, along with that Utah Conference Championship.
The Utah regular season game.
And the Utah regular season game.
So now we're up to almost a third of the games he played, Dan.
Well, one of them, the Washington one, he was ineffective. It is what it is. Some teams,
but you can't be ineffective against a bad Washington Huskies team if you're going to be the fifth player taken in the draft.
I get that point, but it happens. Teams can.
I think this is really going in a way that that you're getting your ass whipped on this argument. So we'll go ahead and move. Steve, is he not?
Nah, definitely not.
Both are making points.
Yeah. So anyway, but Kayvon's immensely talented.
I mean, that quitting, well, most likely is self-inflicted. Also, could be a product of the coaching he's getting or the attitude.
And he was coached for 4 years by it, Steve.
Right, I know, but I'm just saying, somehow the Giants looked at him and said, "We're willing to overlook that because we see more good here." I just think they make that conscious decision.
And remember this, though. The Giants are a team that has basically destroyed themselves because of bad drafts for almost a decade.
Yeah. Exactly true. So you have a lot of ammunition to fire back at Dan. But Dan, I think, held his own.
I don't think he did. But let's move on. Because I got to eat some. My wife's smoking pork chops right now, and when they get done, I want to eat them. All right, Dan.
I would say Thibodeau was a great pick at 5. Evan Neal, I love that 7. I'm sure I was surprised they went Neal over Cross because it sounded like they really liked Cross.
But I think they're looking more for a right tackle.
Yeah. I know they worked Charles Cross out at right tackle when they met with him privately, and they liked what they saw. But yeah, Evan Neal is a much better transition to right tackle. And, in the off chance that he's not that effective at right tackle or whatever, you could slide him into guard, and he should be fine at guard too. So I think that versatility was part of the equation as well. So I like those two additions. They both filled big needs.
All right, real quick, let's go to this one. What about Trayvon Walker, the number 1 pick? Dan, what do you think of him?
I mean, as we were talking about yesterday, I'm not a fan. Mike, I know you said it was the worst pick of all time.
Yeah, as the first play. Well, not the worst pick of all time with the first pick because there's been so many. But,
yeah.
And quarterbacks set you back 3 or 4 years when you miss on them. But, yeah, I mean, when you look at this guy, he played 3 years and he had 9 sacks and 13 tackles for losses and a fast 40 time, and he can lift a lot of weights and jump really high, has moved him up to the best player in the draft. I mean, the stat that I found, Dan, that blew me away the most was advanced stats show him as a guy who can't regularly beat his block. I mean, since 2014, overall pressure rate, Walker ranked 473rd among edge prospects since 2014. For comparison, Myles Garrett ranked like 5th or 6th.
Yeah, I mean, everything you look at, you can see the physical talent, the explosiveness, the speed, the bend off the edge. You see all that, and it's great. The closing speed, the hot points, the hot talking points that you hear on ESPN and whatnot when they talk about these guys. Oh, the twitch and whatnot. Yeah, there is something to that. Teams look for that in their pass rushers, and the twitch, the closing speed, etc. Physically, I'm talking pure athleticism, when it comes to the best of the best edge rushers, they have that flexibility in the hips. They have that twitch. They have that, all that. They have all of that. So I get it. That's what teams are looking for because that's what it is. And Trayvon Walker, kudos to him. We're talking about Kayvon giving up and quitting on his team. That's not a question with this kid here. Trayvon Walker, he is effort all the way. He could be on the other side of the field.
It's really easy to have great effort all the time when you're only in like 43% of the snaps, though.
True, but to that end, also the other thing with these Georgia guys is these linemen. They rotated heavily. So like Jordan Davis didn't really play that much. Walker didn't really play that often, 50% or less of those snaps. But that was part of the system. So that's what these teams are looking, and they're thinking, okay, so yeah, Trayvon Walker played half the snaps, but it's fine because that's what they did. They rotated these guys. They have 3 first-round picks on that line, and they all had their roles. They all played their roles well, and sure, that works. But yeah, as far as that first pick, I'm not a fan at all. If anything, if you're going to go with an edge rusher, the safe option would have been Hutchinson because he doesn't have those questions of effort. He doesn't have those questions of ability or athleticism. He may not have that high of a ceiling where he's going to be a 14, 15 sack guy every year. But in a class like this with no surefire top pick or top 3 guys or something like that, when you're up there, you got to make a pick. So the safer pick would have been Hutchinson, but they went for the home run. And if he turns out to be, Aldon Smith without going to jail or whatever he did, this is going to be a really good pick.
But even if he was Aldon Smith going to jail, he'd have at least 5 good years before that happened.
But that's a big if, and this Jacksonville coaching staff is going to have to really step up.
Well, Jacksonville's coaching staff screwed because I think that probably the owner had more to do with this pick than anything else.
I think the owner wanted Hutchinson or somebody else.
Well, Doug Peterson's the idiot then.
Yeah, I think Peterson and the GM were the ones who wanted Walker, but we know Trent Baalke is butt.
You do know he's butt? Was he there last night?
He's so butt cheeks. If he was, I would have told him he sucked.
I want you to get that on video. We can put it on TikTok. All right, so tonight we've got the second round. There's still a lot of good players here. Steve, be ready because I want to ask you who you'd like to see the Colts take. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to run down the best players available right now. And to me, Dan, the guy that sticks out the most is Nakobe Dean.
Oh, man. I'm so glad you said him because that's the number 1 guy on my board right now. And, hashtag NFL problems. This is what happens. A guy doesn't have the prototype size that they look for, and they drop. And it's ugly. Even if they're a good football player, a good leader, they're smart, they have everything else you look for, but they're just a little small. They're just, a few inches too short.
This sounds like this has been told to Dan before about himself personally, the way he's saying this. Don't you think, Steve?
No, he sounds like an intelligent man.
He sounds kind of angry, but go ahead.
Thank you, Steve. But no, I get frustrated because it's stupid. Like, you're in this to pick the best football players for your team. It doesn't matter if they're a few inches too short or a few pounds too light or their arms are a few inches too short. Who gives a damn? A good football player is a good football player. And somebody like Dean, who in Georgia was the leader of that defense, everyone talks about how intelligent and how good his football IQ is. He flies around the field.
Yeah. That should make up for 2 inches of height, too.
That's what I'm saying. Are there situations where he gets washed up in the running game? Yes. Is the reason because He might be a little short and his arms aren't quite long or whatever. Sure, that makes sense. But he's a baller. He is a football player, and whoever takes him is going to be very pleased. They got a steal, and the rest of these teams are going to look stupid.
And you know the way this is going is Tom Brady will have him on his defense now.
Oh, yeah. The Bucks are picking 33rd, and why not? Take Nakobe Dean. Let him learn from Levante David, and you have a Levante David clone, so when you get rid of him in a year or two, Nakobe steps in.
All right, so we're going to talk about a few more players here in a little bit. But I would say right now, I want to ask Steve about the Colts. I know there's a lot of Colts fans that watch the show. The Colts will be picking, what is it, about 9th
32nd, 32nd.
Yeah, so they'll be picking 10th tonight. So when you look, you still got 3 or 4 tight ends on the board. You still got wide receivers all over the place.
Yeah.
Is this a no-brainer that they go with a wide receiver?
Yeah, I think their pick's George Pickens. 6'3", 195 pounds, a junior out of Georgia. I think that, his position rank, he's ranked 6th of all the receivers out there. 6 of them have already been taken. So I just don't know if by the time the Colts get around to pick, if he's going to be available or not.
I think he will, because I think there has to be a lot of questions because he missed most of last season with a torn ACL.
Yeah.
Yep, that's definitely a thing. And leading up to the draft, like the week or so before the draft, there were talks not only of the medical concerns, but there were talks about another one with his personality, that he is disinterested at times, that he is not the most mature, stuff like that. So that attributed to the drop. And I think he definitely would be there for the Colts. And I don't think it's a bad pick because the football player could have potentially been a first-round pick, and if he were healthy, he would have definitely been a first-round pick. So I don't think it's a terrible pick at all. It's just he had questions.
I think it would be a terrible pick in the 2nd round.
Well, Christian Watson's available, right? It should be available too. From North Dakota State.
See, I think that he's kind of a bust too. The guy I like is Skye Moore from West Virginia or Western Michigan.
Yeah, Skye Moore is getting a lot of love around the league too. A lot of teams apparently have him very much high on their boards, and some of them had him as a first-round grade. He's like 5'8", 5'9", but he's got good size for him for someone of that height. And he's another one. He's a baller. He might be only a slot receiver in the league because of his height. That's what's been talked about.
Yeah, but you know what? The Colts need a slot receiver. I'm
not buying it. I see Skye Moore as someone who can play on the outside if needed. But, he's a weapon, and he's a yak beast, and he would be a great pick for the Colts.
So what's your take on the other one that Steve brought up, Christian Watson?
Christian Watson is one of those shorts, workout guys. He comes out there with the prototype size, long arms, ran fast, tested really well. But the competition is questionable. He has
real quick though, Dan. I don't think the competition is questionable because North Dakota State beats up on D1 teams now. I think the thing that's questionable is the North Dakota State offense and how it translates for receivers because this is an absolute freak athlete who's never had more than 800 yards receiving in a season. And he also has dropped like 13% of the passes that have been thrown to him.
That was the other thing. The drops, the release, because if he lets you get into his body, he can be rerouted. And in the NFL, if you let these corners get their hands on you, you're not going. The good ones, you're not going anywhere. So the drops were a question. The release on tape is a question, and I don't know. It's the inconsistent ball skills. He's got some injury issues. I don't know. He definitely wasn't a first-round pick. I know there were rumors that he might go at the end of the first round. Maybe the Packers would have taken him or something like that. That would have been absolutely foolish. I feel, I guess, a little more comfortable with him going in the 2nd round. There's a lot to work with physically and stuff like that, but I'd rather have I'd rather have Pickens. I'd rather have Skye Moore rather than Watson if I'm the Colts.
Yeah, but it's a good bet Skye Moore is going to be gone for the Colts draft.
He very well may be.
Yeah,
he
probably.
Because he's probably the best wide receiver left.
I think he is. I mean, the thing I'm looking at.
I think he's going to be gone by the 9th pick. in the second round. I mean, if you look at the premium put on receivers right now, after what happened in the first round, I don't think they're done drafting receivers.
Oh,
Well,
no.
I think there's plenty more receivers to go
There's
around.
plenty more to go, and
I'll tell you, I would.
untalented as the quarterbacks were, it seems the receivers are talented this year, and there's a lot of good ones available.
Well, and I'll tell you this, Steve. I would think this. I would damn near rather than go after one of the tight ends right away because there's 3 or 4 that I think are really good there. By the 9th pick, one of them's still going to be there. And if you can get a guy like Isaiah Likely from Coastal Carolina or the kid from Colorado State, I mean, everybody always says you need a wide receiver because you've only got Pittman. But Pittman with a badass tight end wouldn't be bad. And then you could pick up another wide receiver later on in the draft even. And I think this, Tennessee, they traded A.J. Brown. I don't think the guy that they traded for is anywhere near A.J. Brown. So the Colts just got to get a little bit better. They weren't that far off last year. It's just according to Matt Ryan, still got it in him. But the Colts can challenge the Titans the way it stands now if they don't screw this draft up.
Yeah, and I like your point about bringing a tight end into the. And I don't want this to be a Colts show because there's 30.
It's only been 5 minutes, Steve. We're almost an hour in. You're fine.
But I think that with Pittman and then you get a good tight end, as you say, helps the Colts because just face it, Ryan is on the downward side of his career, and
he's not very mobile.
And he's not going to have to spend a lot of time in the pocket trying to be mobile to buy time to throw the long ball. So you play your short game, take your 5, 6, 7 yards. Let Pittman always get you another 5 or 6 after he catches the ball. You get yourself a good tight end and do the same thing for you. You always got Taylor in the backfield to march the ball. You still have a solid offensive line if they can get a left tackle to shore it up like it was. And now you have a smart, thinking, reliable quarterback, veteran back there who can move the ball for the Colts. And you're right, they weren't that far off. But, as you said, the AFC is a bitch this year. I mean, I think it's
well. The Colts are lucky that they're in the AFC South. Put it like that.
I think it's going to be lucky they make the playoffs, and that should be their benchmark for the year, because they aren't talented enough to compete with the top 3 or 4 teams in the AFC.
All right, so you heard any rumors for tonight, Dan? Or you just literally woke up, didn't you? Got a shower and
got the show girl out of the room.
I've been up for a little bit. Got some breakfast and whatnot. Checked the Twitter sphere to see if there's any rumors or anything popping up. Honestly,
did you read all Sam Teach's tweets? Holy cow!
What's that now?
Did you read all of Sam Teach's tweets?
I saw a few. Over the course of the night.
I know he loved the Pittsburgh Steelers picking Kenny Pickett.
Oh, he was all over that one.
I love that one too. I'm a Bengals fan. Yeah.
I know he's not a fan of any of these quarterbacks. So that was.
Hey, how about this? Let me ask you this. And I'm going to get off subject here, and we'll wrap it up with this. But we look tonight. Buccaneers. Any chance they pick one of these quarterbacks?
I don't think so. I mean,
Brady is in his last year. I don't think they do just because N'Kobe Dean's there now. I think if he wasn't there, then maybe they would. But what about Minnesota? Who is the first team tonight that jumps and takes a quarterback off the board? Because we got some teams here. You got the Bucs, you got the Vikings. The Vikings have Kirk Cousins, but he makes a lot of money. The Titans have Ryan Tannehill. The Giants have Daniel Jones. Do they jump here and try to make a pick for the future? You got the Houston Texans, but Davis Mills may have been the best rookie quarterback last year. The Jets, I mean, you got teams like the Texans and the Jets, where quarterback-wise, they're not really sure if they got their guy. I think Texans might be a little bit more than the Jets. Then you got the Bears with Justin Fields. I think for sure the Seahawks at 40 and 41, one of those picks is going to be a quarterback, though.
I would say, I mean, I know you're not a fan of Fields at all, but I would say the Jets and the Bears spent high first round picks on these guys. There's 0% chance they go.
Dude, I like Fields better than I do Zach Wilson. So I don't think Fields is a bust. I think that I want to see Fields with a different coach because I'm not a big Matt Nagy fan.
Well, no, Nagy's not the coach there anymore.
I know,
but yeah, so anyway, so the Jets and the Bears aren't going quarterback at all. The Texans aren't going to go quarterback. I think most likely, if anything, the Titans are one of those teams because their fans, like I told you, Mike, their fans are 100% anti Ryan Tannehill.
I'll tell you this though: if they pick a quarterback, I think the Colts will win the division this year.
Why not? Like, the Colts aren't that far behind. They're really not. But I think the Titans are one of the top teams that might take one of these guys only because Malik Willis is still on the board, and I know.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, that destroys them.
Well,
because you've got a chance to upgrade your team. They need another wide receiver. They need offensive line help. I mean, they've got a good coach. They've got a good defense. And if you hate Ryan Tannehill, you're stupid. Your team was the number 1 seed. And he did the same thing Patrick Mahomes did. He ended his season on an interception in a game they were supposed to win. But, I mean, to me, the Seahawks need a quarterback. Do you see anybody that could possibly trade up to the top of the second round? Because you got the Falcons here. You've got the Lions. I mean, because you would say no at the start, but you would also think by 46, most of these guys would be gone.
Probably. Honestly, I don't think the Lions trade up for a quarterback. They're already down some picks since they traded up for Jameson.
Yeah, but do you think if there's one of these guys left, one of the 5 or 6 dudes everybody's talking about, do you think there's a chance they can take one?
I think there's a chance, but if I had to put a percentage on it, I'd say 15%. Because I don't think the Lions are one of those teams, at least it seems anymore between last year and this year so far, that this isn't one of those teams that's going to panic and spend a crazy amount of money on a need, on a guy who may not be quite right, or spend high draft capital on a guy that might fill a need, but there's questions about him and stuff like that. I don't think they would spend the draft capital to move up for one of these guys.
How about this? What about the Packers? Do they take a quarterback? Because Jordan Love's been in the league for 5 years. He's not getting any younger, and they're going to need a backup for Aaron Rodgers someday. That was a joke, by the way.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if that happened. But I think the Titans, the Seahawks, the Colts, and the Falcons are the most likely teams that would make a move up for one of these quarterbacks remaining.
Steve, would you like the Colts picking one of these quarterbacks?
No, I really
because if they pick them, then that means the Titans win the division.
Well, yeah, no, I'm fine with Matt Ryan for the next 2 years. I think he's got 2 more really solid years left in him. I say we hold out, try and get a first round pick, and or trade that up if we can or whatever. I don't know, but we're used to getting the Peyton Mannings, the Andrew Lucks, the star quarterbacks, and I think to play this stupid, pick a new quarterback every 2 or 3 years does not win you Super Bowls. You've got to have your quarterback solid, and he's got to be the most loyal, reliable, solid.
And when you get 2 back-to-back, Steve,
you're lucky.
Probably going to be
Probably
going to be a while before you, because the only other team I can think of that did more than 2, I mean, the Packers were close with 3. You had like 15 years in between, though, but it's hard to pull that off. The Steelers, because you had Bradshaw, Roethlisberger. I don't think someday I'm going to say, hey, 10 years from now, they had Bradshaw, Roethlisberger, and Trubisky. Right. I don't think that's going to happen.
We're in an enviable position that we were lucky enough to get 2 really great ones in Luck and in Manning.
Yeah, you just got to make sure that you suck. Spoiled. You got to make sure that you suck on a year where there's a good quarterback coming
Exactly.
out.
Neither of you guys mentioned Matt Corral. Is he not really on anybody's radar?
Well, I haven't mentioned him because I actually think he's pretty decent. I mean, Malik Willis, to me, I think is a bad pick. Matt Corral, I know there's some off-field issues people have talked about, but I think Corral and Sam Howell, to me, look like the 2 guys that I think could turn into something. But as Dan said, anytime you're sitting at this point in professional football and you're saying, well, they've got to tweak this or tweak that, it almost never gets tweaked.
Yeah.
And I like Matt Corral. I like Matt Corral a lot.
I had him too. He's a tough-ass kid.
I had him right up there. I had him ahead of Malik Willis and Desmond Ridder and Sam Howell. I really, really like Matt Corral. I really like Sam Howell. And I like them even more now that they're available in the second round than I would have if a team traded up for them in the first round. And I'm so glad somebody didn't trade up for one of these guys. It would have been a huge bust for them.
Probably. Maybe not on Corral, though. There is something about him. I like how tough the guy is. He checks all my boxes, and he's got talent on top of it. So the thing is this, you get talent with that, you win. You get talent without that, and you just picked a bust in the 5th round.
That's how it works. Now, do you guys have any dislikes for the first round, team-wise?
I already told you the number 1 I hated was the first round pick. I'll run them down real quick, and then Steve can prepare his. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars because of their number 1 pick. I think the Patriots. Cole Strange. It sounds like a girl you met last night in Vegas after the draft. But I don't like the Cole Strange. I don't like the Tennessee Titans and what they did. I think the New Orleans Saints, I had them as a winner in my article. I think they are a winner, but I think it's because the division's not great except for Tampa Bay. And I think Chris Olave is a very good wide receiver. Trevor Penning, I'm not sure. I've seen stuff where I really like him. I've seen other stuff where I'm not so sure. So I think they did an all right job. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers were massive losers. I think Kenny Pickett is a huge overreach in the first round. And I think they could have traded back to the top of the second round and got Kenny Pickett. Steve? You got a few losers?
Yeah, I got losers in terms of Baltimore. I think was a loser a little bit in this draft. Giving up losing Brown and not trying to replace him. I think that hurts Lamar Jackson. They want to see Lamar throw the ball more and not run. And now they're left with Bateman and
they've got no receivers.
They've got no receivers. They've got no receivers now. They've got one of the best.
The trade was really good. I think they got great value for the trade, Steve.
Yeah, but they didn't replace him somehow.
No.
And maybe they'll try and do that in the second round. Who knows? But
actually, if you're trying to replace Hollywood Brown, you could probably do it in the 5th round. But so I mean, and to me, it's a good trade because I don't think Hollywood Brown's worth a damn. Anyways, you upgraded the defense. You took advantage of. Who'd they take advantage of in that trade, Dan?
When they got Linderbaum?
Yeah.
Arizona?
Are you sure, Dan?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure you weren't drunk last night. Yeah, Dan was drunk last night.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Why? Why would Dan want to get drunk?
Yeah.
Getting drunk just makes you not remember all the fun you had.
Exactly.
But
no, Arizona took advantage of Arizona.
All the stupid shit you did too. So
he does
nothing stupid. Not last night.
I think Aaron Rodgers is in the same boat as a loser. I think the Packers did not try and replace.
They did make his defense better though.
Yeah, but they didn't help him. Now MVP quarterback again got nobody to throw to. Losing Devontae Adams and not trying to replace him was big. And I think Tennessee probably overall, losing A.J. Brown and not trying to replace him a little bit. And they've lost some players on their offensive line. We'll see what they do in the second round. As you said, if they try and make a move to at least get a solid backup for Tannehill or somebody to challenge Tannehill.
I think they need to get Tannehill. They need to get Tannehill either the best offensive lineman available or the best wide receiver.
And I'm like you. I don't dislike Tannehill. I think he's as good as he's going to get now.
Yeah, he's above average.
But that's as good as he's going to get.
You know what, though? The Titans may have won the Super Bowl last year if they would have just kept handing the ball to Dante Foreman in the playoffs. Instead of giving it to a guy who hadn't played in 2 months.
But we might have made the playoffs if we just kept handing the ball to Jonathan Taylor.
I wish y'all would have made the playoffs because the Bengals would have smacked.
Throw the damn football to every.
I was hoping the Colts would make the playoffs just because I wanted to watch the Bengals smack the crap out of them to shut you and Bobby up.
Yes.
Bobby Sheridan. Remember that when he tweeted how I was a loser because I was afraid for the Bengals to play the Colts because the Colts were better.
Mike,
I just like to bring that up.
You've got to learn not to hold grudges.
I don't hold grudges. That's why I'm laughing. Hey, Dan.
So that's my losers. I think.
Dan.
I think all the quarterbacks lost. With only one of them being picked in the first round.
Well, one of them didn't lose.
No, none of them. Not one out of that group is a first round pick other than Pittsburgh pick.
And I don't know, but I kind of worry about having a quarterback with the last name of Pickett too. It's kind of like the kicker named Blewett. Remember that one?
You blew it.
Yeah. Actually, Xavier had a guy named Trayvon Blewett. He was a really good basketball player, but still. All right, guys.
It's not as bad as having a kicker named Vanderjack, who Peyton Manning comes on national TV and says, "We're out there trying to win a football game with our goddamn kicker all liquored up."
You just used the Lord's name in vain again, Steve. That's
the idiot kicker.
That idiot kicker, yeah. I'm sorry, idiot. idiot kicker all liquored up.
All right, guys, I want you to remember to head over and check out for yourself. Betting.net makes it easy to find all the online casinos and sports books. And they're all legal, too. Not like the ones Dan goes to and bets on. But they will find the best ones in your state. Make sure you go check out betting.net. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap the show up. Do you guys want to do a Monday night where we rate all the teams?
I am going to be traveling back from Vegas. So
You stand on Monday.
Yeah,
Well, should we just do it from Vegas? We could do it Saturday night or Sunday night.
No.
Why not?
Because I'm going to be doing stuff.
What are you going to be doing? Hold on, Steve. What are you going to be doing in Vegas, Dan? We need to hear this, Steve.
I'm not sure, but I want to see where the night takes me.
He met somebody last night.
No, he didn't.
Actually, I met a few people at the draft. It was really cool.
Did you meet Aaron Andrews?
I wish I met Aaron Andrews.
Oh, God, I know.
Why?
She lives in Malibu.
Who cares?
I would wish I would hit her rear ender. I didn't mean that.
Phrasing.
In my car. That didn't come out right either.
Phrasing, and
I
we're
wish
done.
I got an accent with her so I could meet her.
Well, it was good doing the show with you guys. We're done here.
Yeah, I'm done.
You're done.
That was totally unintentional.
All right. Joe, if you're watching this, a TikTok video. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We will be back sometime here in the next couple days. Just keep an eye out. You can hear us wherever you hear podcasts, including Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Make sure you check us out there. But for now, for Dan Kornhauser, Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth